Hey, it is Sunday, February 25th, 2024. It's 2 p.m. This is Kicking It with Brother Ed, KWBE. You're in the right place. This is Ed Steve, your host, and I have coming up my co-host, my daughter, Nye Latte. How you doing today, Nye?
Hey, I'm excited. I'm happy.
And we have a great program today, a special guest, Dr. Bob Lee. Yes, that's right. Dr. Bob Lee, the one and only from WBLS-FM. Man, we are so happy to do this today. This is a special program, and we're going to have a good old time. So before we bring up Dr. Bob Lee, I just want to say a couple of things about him. He's on WBLS still. He's been doing it for many years. He's a TV personality. He's a co-host. A host of his own TV show up there in Harlem, the Bronx area. He does a lot of things in the New York, New Jersey area and elsewhere. Just a phenomenal guy. So let's bring him up now without further ado. Dr. Bob Lee. Come on, y'all. Let's give it up for Dr. Bob Lee. Amen.
Awesome.
All right, Dr. Bob, how you doing today, sir?
WBLS, like Bob BL. I'm the
All
BL
right.
between the W and the S.
Oh man, I never thought of that.
It just happened that way.
Did you just come up with that, or did you
No,
is that for a long time?
We've been looking at it for a while, BLS, the Bob Lee Show. And then, I was always in between the W and the S. So I said, all right. Let's work it.
I like it.
Yo, B, what's up, B?
That's why you're that dude, man. Go ahead, Nye. You get this show started, and I'll come back on in a minute.
Thank you.
Brother.
I'm doing very well, Dr. Bob Lee. I'm super duper excited about this interview. I mean, the fact that you would take the time out and do this with little old us here at KWBE.
No, there's no such thing as little old.
Well, thank you. We are both, my dad and I are both honored to have you here on the show. And we want to jump right into it because although we know you as this famous talk show host, radio show host rather, and as an entrepreneur and an author, a motivational speaker, so many different things, we want to start with the smaller things, kind of get to that point where we go a little bit up the ladder as we learn more about you. So let's start with, to me, what has to be the simplest question ever. Where did you grow up, Dr. Bob Lee? Where are your stomping grounds growing up?
I still go there. I get my hair cut there. It's where Ron Artest grew up. It's where Nas grew up. It's where Marley Marl grew up. And so many other great people. There's a guy working with the Rolling Stones. He's a background singer. He grew up there. Some famous basketball players. They grew up there. I can't recall everybody's name. But a lot of it, Mobb Deep. Yeah, it's called Queensbridge.
I was thinking Nas. Where is he from? Of course.
Yeah, Queensbridge. So I still roll through there from time to time. I go back. I give out toys and turkeys and blankets. I blanket people with blankets if I see somebody that really needs it. But and I get my hair cut there. I still I was getting my hair cut there since I had an afro like that.
I love that. That. And you go back there, and I would imagine not just for giving, but also the nostalgia of it all, like just going back to experience home again. But what could you say are your most memorable experiences about that time, or your childhood in general?
Oh, wow. There was a lot. I mean, it all started right there, 41 side of 10th Street. where my sister used to have these parties after they had the basketball games at the community center. And my mother had a huge record collection. My oldest sister had a huge record collection. And the one below her, Leanna, had a good record collection too. I didn't have one because I didn't know what I wanted to get involved in yet. It was still like, so when she did the parties, I used to crawl out there in my underwear and be alongside the couch watching all these people dance. I was looking up at all these people doing these different moves and stuff like that. And I said, wow, I can do that. So somebody would say to my sister, hey, Ida, your brother's alongside of the couch. He's watching everybody. So she would take me, put me back in the bed and everything. And when my mother came home, I would tell. I would tell on her. And so she got tired of getting in trouble for it. So she said, I'm going to teach you how to put the records together. And at that time, there were 45s. A couple of albums, but mostly the little 45s. And, you speak of 45s in auditorium now, it's a format of a record. And people, oh, my father has one. No, it's not that type of 45. It's a record that you put on a turntable, like the 12-inch. And she taught me how to take the pink disc and put it inside of all the slow records. And then I had a different colored disc, like a red one, for all the fast. And in the mid-tempo, I would have a green or orange, most likely a green, just to determine which was which. And he started liking the way I was playing the music. And you play the music inside of a, ready for this?
Yes.
A Victrola. It was a piece of furniture that you pulled up. And inside there was a turntable with an AM, FM radio and shortwave radio. And if you had the latest model, you had an 8-track you could put in there and play music. But yeah, we started out with that. And sometimes you had to put a quarter, a nickel, or a dime on the needle. I don't know if you know anything about that. Brother Ed knows.
Yeah, I don't. Interesting. I love it. I'm learning here.
So yeah, I started DJing house parties like that. And my father used to work. There was 9 of us living in a 3-bedroom apartment. I had 7 brothers, 7 people in my family, and my mother and father, 9 of us. That's 4 brothers and 2 sisters. And I was the middle guy. I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 brothers and 2 sisters, right? 7 of us. So at that time, I just started going from spot to spot. And my father was working. He worked on the railroad. He was a Pullman porter, but he also had this other job as a doorman. And inside that building, they had a dentist and a doctor's office. So I used to go to the doctor's office to help him clean, just for extra money for the family. And the doctor had a long robe behind his door. And he had a big, powerful black microscope. This is like 3 powers. And I used to get that thing, put on his robe and go into the microscope and just check out I'd take a swab out of my mouth and put it on the slide and look under there and say, wow, there's a whole nother world. So I started mixing and doing all this stuff. And I went and bought a chemistry set and I started mixing chemicals and different things and just watching the reactions of the different things like that. I wanted to know the origins of things. So the doctor, my father spoke to the doctor and he said, oh, he likes that robe. I'll give it to him. He gave me the robe. And my father bought me a microscope. So while I was in the house mixing and mingling and doing all this stuff and naming these slides and had all these movable animals under the microscope, my friends wanted to go out and play basketball, football, or whatever we were involved in at the time. And I said, no, I'm on to something. And they said, oh, look, he's a doctor. And that's where the name Dr. Bob Lee came from before. All the degrees and all that other stuff. So that's how that happened. So that was one of the most memorable things. And then I got into, I was into boxing, football, basketball, and I thought I wanted to become a professional boxer. So I was winning fights all over the place. That's a whole other story. You can ask me about it a little bit later on down the line. But my ultimate decision was to get into playing the music that I had all around my house. My mother and my older sister And on those records was the name of the company and the address of the company, Motown or whatever. But a lot of those companies were here in the city, in New York City. So I started going around knocking on their doors, and they started giving me records after a while. So I was a guy known for having the records before you heard it on the radio, having the records before they put it on the list at one of the stores. They used to have this list that they used to put out before WWRL, before you even heard it anywhere. I played it first, so I was known for that guy. And wow, yo, Bob Lee played it. So the name that playing that record first was attached to your name. And that was the guy that had the music first. So everybody wanted to know what I was going to play next. So the crowd started building, and I started, getting this huge following in social media. That was the original social media.
Yes, I was
being out in the crowds and all that stuff, looking people in the eye, talking to people.
I love that.
Communicating, rapping, and just playing good music.
That is awesome.
Dr. Bob, let me chime in here. I wanted to ask you, I didn't know you had so many siblings. I guess that's the cost of not having cable TV, right? Did you have any other options? I heard what you were telling Nye about the microscope and all of that stuff, and that's where the origin of the title doctor comes from. That is so cool. Did you have any other options that you considered as a career field as opposed to going into the media as you did, which has obviously been successful?
Yeah, I was boxing. Of course, I played basketball. I was good at basketball, but not, really good. I was good at football, but I was okay. I was doing my thing. Any dance that I tried to get involved in, I tried to, do it to the best of my ability. But it was like boxing where there was that mix, like you mix in music. There was that mix of mixing it up with people, and it was just you and that person, and what your corner can see that you didn't see while you were in there. And I became really, really good at it, and I started creating these collisions. I said, I got to create this collision because, if you're hitting somebody and they're going back, you're not getting a full punch, and they're moving, you get. But if you try to, and you cause a collision, the person's coming in, you're punching at the same time.
Right.
You can feel it. You can feel what, the damage that you're doing. You can see it and feel it. And so I was causing people to make these moves, or I catch them coming in with a nice uppercut and catch them with a nice left hook. And my hardest punch was like that right hand. Once I caught you with that right hand, it was done.
That was it.
Yeah, it was done. So I was knocking out a lot of people and winning a lot of fights. And I was preparing for the Golden Gloves. I mean, I fought amateur night. Not amateur night. I fought amateur boxing. Then I got into PAL, Police Athletic League. And then I was going into the Golden Gloves. And so I was training with heavyweights. I think I only weighed 159, 160 at the time. But I wanted to fight heavyweights. So when I got somebody in with my weight, I was able to take their punch, and I was knocking out big dudes, heavyweights, catching them on the right spot, causing those collisions, until I got in there with Ron Artest.
The basketball player?
His father. Yeah, his father. And I said, all right, I'm going to catch him coming in. I'm going to catch him. But guess what? We both thrown those right hands at the same time. He felt me, and I felt him. I said, what the hell was that? We said, we're not getting anybody hurt in here. Let's break this up. But yeah, I fought Ron Artest's father. And I told Ron Artest, the basketball player, we were at a function together, a fundraiser. I said, Ron, I just want to let you know, you don't know, I fought your father when I was getting ready to go into the Golden Gloves. He said, oh, that was you? My father was telling me stories like that.
Wow.
At Lost Battalion Hall on Queens Boulevard. But yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to become a professional boxer at the time. And I wanted to emulate Muhammad Ali, because he had those moves and everything. And I was moving like that. So.
But I guess that last bout in Queens kind of like made you transition into what you're doing now, or something close to it.
No, that wasn't it. I went on through the Golden Gloves and all that stuff. It was when I think I was down south or something like that, and my brother and I were fighting in this match. My brother Cliff Lee, he went pro. He was the real pro. You know, he can fight. He was better than me.
Really?
Better than me. But yeah, it was just a couple of things where I said, nah. You know, I said it's a whole lot easier because at the same time I had my sound system and I was DJing at different places, all the colleges and universities. Right. I took the Disco Twins and Molly Mall and the whole crew. I had a crew of people who would go to these different colleges and universities. And then I got caught way up at Oswego State University in a snowstorm. And the lady said, hey, you know, you have a pretty nice, I was DJing. She said, you know, you have a pretty nice voice. Well, you know, why don't you go to school for it? I said, what? You telling me I don't know how to do this? He said, no, we got a radio station. You know, maybe I'll take you to see it in the morning. So sure enough, she took me to see that radio station in the morning. It was Oswego State University. And I was working in a printing place at the time because I went to school for graphic arts and communication, high school.
Right.
Printing high school back then. And got a good job right out of high school. And I took a year off. Instead of going to college, I was doing that. I was making so much money. I was like, wow. Because I became a night foreman and all that. And I was running the press so damn fast that they were able to take those things. And the guy would come in the morning and say, what the hell happened here? Are they good? He would check my work and inspect it and all that stuff. And it was good because I found out how to mix those chemicals so the ink and everything can dry up with the alcohol and the varnishes and all that. It was crazy. Wow. But I knew how to mix. So I came back from that trip after seeing that radio station. I said, damn, I can do this. I came back to the job. He said, where the hell you been? We didn't have no cell phones back then. And we were in a snowstorm and none of that stuff worked. So he had to wait till I got back. I said, I'm quitting. I'm going back to college. I enrolled at a New York. He said, oh, you're going to not get the hell out of here. Get back to work. He thought I was bullshit jobbing. So sure enough, I enrolled at the New York Institute of Technology. I became the music director over there, public relations director, and finally I became the program director of that station, WTNY 88.7. We were on Manhattan Cable. And I had all kinds of people coming in. I was interviewing them. We had to close off the whole block. He had a huge Jerry Lewis telethon, raising money for it and all that stuff. We just had it going on, And then at that time, I wrote for a job. It was time for me to get out of college. I wrote for a job to WBLS and Fox 5. I did some things over there. And Hal Jackson answered the letter. And he said, we have no jobs at this time. I still have the letter. We have no jobs at this time, but we have internships. I said, internships, all my friends, I'm the general manager, all these people looking up to me, all the people that wanted me looking up to me, saying if this guy can't get a job, we're doomed because, We're all looking to get out of college and get into the system. And a lot of my crew became news people, engineers and all that stuff. But yeah, and BLS gave me that internship. I ran around telling everybody I had a job. But I knew it was just, you weren't getting paid, sort of. You were getting paid information. And I became Frankie Crocker's DJ. So I would do all his mobile DJ work because I had my own van. The station just had a news van with David Lampel running around doing news. Wayne Gilman and David Lampel and those cats.
I remember those.
But it was the van that was promoting a radio station. So during my internship, Pepe Sutton told me, I had one more semester to go. He said, maybe you should take some marketing classes. So I went back and I did that. Took some marketing classes. Taught me how to market myself, market the radio station, and market all those stores and stuff that I was working with that they sent me to. And I started promoting WBLS with my van, and I started promoting 92 KTU because he wasn't paying me. I'm interning, remember? You don't have me locked in yet. And I started promoting this other station, 99X WXLO, where a voice came in and said, we play them from the streets 24 hours a day. We are FM 99 WXLO. And behind that, Kiss is Coming. Kiss is Coming. 99X. They bumped it down 98.7.
That's where Kiss came from.
So I started promoting their stuff. I had everybody's stuff in my personal van with a sound system. I was able to pull up in front of places, pumping it and everything. I had speakers on the top of the van. You can hear it on the outside and on the inside. Until BLS called me in one day and said, look, we want you to park that van. We're buying you a van. We're buying 2 vans. One for you and one for this gentleman called Mr. Magic. So they pulled me, Frankie Crocker pulled me and Mr. Magic in the office. And you can edit, right?
No worries. We're live. It's okay. We're good.
Okay. So let me just, when the phone calls come in, you can say, hey, I'm doing a live Zoom and I'll call you back just like that. So, but we didn't have cell phones back in the day. So I'll call you back. I answered the phone. That was, so.
All good.
They said, look, we want you guys to crisscross the tri-state area with these vans. And we did that. We were out day and night and we developed a crew and we started calling the vans the Juice Mobiles. Mr. Magic named them the Juice Mobiles and named.
Why was that?
Say it again.
Why was that? What's the origin of that name?
Well, because we had juice. That was the terminology back then. Yo, you fresh. Yo, you got juice.
Right.
Your word. We were talking like that.
Right.
And so, so he named the juice. He named the vans, the WBLS vans, the Juice Mobiles, because we had juice. They were packed with T-shirts and hats and all kinds of giveaways and all that stuff. So I had to put all that other stuff aside, at 92 KTU and all those other stations that I was working with. So me and Magic crisscrossing the city made WBLS #1. Now he named the Juice Mobiles the Juice Mobiles, and he named everybody working, coming around with us, even the early day rappers, the Juice Crew. That's where the Juice Crew name came from Mr. Magic. The Juice Mobiles came from Mr. Magic. Later on, they came up with the Juice Crew All-Stars. Those were the recording artists.
Awesome. That is awesome history right there.
And Molly Ma was one of my DJs. We were going around to the colleges and universities, and I introduced Molly Ma to Mr. Magic. But before that, it was Dr. Bob Lee and Mr. Magic with the Rap Attack, and we were going around promoting the Rap Attack. First rap on radio. So that's when you started hearing Mr. Magic, Molly Ma, and all the records coming out, and they were doing their thing together. But we were all working together from way back then until now. But we give it to Mr. Magic.
That is awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna ask you to pick up some more questioning. But before I do that, I want you all to know that those that don't know that Dr. Bob is also an author, several books. Some of which, for those that stay with us this afternoon till the program's over, you're going to be able to get some from KWBE for free. We're going to give you some.
All right.
We got some nice giveaways coming up, and we're going to give away some coupons on some of Dr. Bob's book. We even have, for those that can't get Dr. Bob's book, we're giving away a couple of KWBE mugs, okay?
That's what's up. You got to send me one.
All right, you got it, sir. We got to definitely get Dr.
Now
Bob.
you got to make sure you
Dr.
send me
Bob
one.
can use it. You guys can use
For
it.
sure.
And we're going to give it to you for free.
Yes.
So go ahead, Nai.
Well, I'm actually very intrigued. I mean, first of all, you're very interesting. This is probably,
Thank you.
I hope no one else gets offended, but this is probably one of my favorite interviews already.
Oh, good. And you know what? And it's at a most appropriate time because BLS is celebrating 50 years. We just came out of celebrating 50 years of hip hop, but we're celebrating 50 years of WBLS too. So what I'm telling you is a part of what they want to use. So you may have to send them some copy.
Sounds good to us, right, Dad?
Yeah.
Yes, and something else I want to say too before you get back to your questioning. Thank you for that, Dr. Bob. we advertise with BLS, and I'm telling you, it's very
Oh,
reasonable. So I encourage anybody to. We're going to do it some more. Even it started with Dr.
yeah,
Bob, but we're going to do it some more. And I encourage anybody that has a business or anything you need the public to know about to check BLS out. It's very, very good. Even a friend of mine got a call from one of their friends saying, "Hey, I heard about this KWBE interview of Dr. Bob on
uh-huh.
WBLS. So check that out and spread the word." But go ahead now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Gloria Lee, that's my radio wife. She has the same last name,
Gloria
Gloria
Lee,
Lee.
yes.
That's who you spoke to. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
Big up to Gloria Lee.
Yeah.
We call her salesperson extraordinaire.
She is indeed. She was so cool. And I was
Yeah,
going to ask you if she was your wife or not because of the last name, but now I got it.
yeah. That's my radio wife.
So funny enough, because my question was going to be about relationships in a sense, in your career. So particularly with obviously being a radio show host, what types of relationships did you maintain, or who were the people that you could say were the most influential, the people that you built rapport with or that you considered mentors and so forth? Where did that who do you feel, if you can name anyone specifically or not, anyone we might know or
Yeah.
not?
In whatever you want to do in life, relationships are a big part of the whole thing.
Or,
That's the glue that holds everything together. You can get that relationship going on, not only with people, but with organizations. And I'm a community builder, so I like to go out and bring people together. And there's nothing like people moving together in the same direction for a common cause.
yes.
As long as it's positive, I want to be down with it. I want to help people get what they need out of life, because when you help enough people get what they need, you get more than you can handle. It's like it's a thing that you put out, good stuff out, good stuff in, good stuff out, and it always comes back. It's a circle of love,
For sure.
It's a circle of love.
For sure.
And integrity is a big part of that relationship too, because people look at you and they see, all right, this person is like that. You gotta watch out.
Yes.
You gotta be careful what you say to that person. Be careful what you do with that person. Be careful with your dealings. And nobody ever wants to be like that. Oh,
Right.
if you're talking to somebody and you're dealing with them, you want to be straight up. This is the way I am. And in dealing with people and relationships, you just have to understand that everybody has something good and bad about them. You may have something that I don't like and something that I do like, and I have something that you like, and you may find out that there's something that you don't like about me. But if you understand that people are people and this is what it is, you can get along with people and just make it all happen. And that's why I went to school and I did a detour from. I got my bachelor's, I got my master's, and I was doing a PhD in natural healing, the origins of things, and natural healing. See how they came back around later on in life. I went all through radio and everything, and then here we go. I'm trying to work on and I was 10 classes away from doing the PhD work. A lot of research, a lot of dissertations. Well, the 2 dissertations you had to do with that one. But I put the brakes on right there, and I went to the new seminary in Washington, D.C., and I got into theology, because the original school I was going to, the American Institute of Holistic Theology, they did something else, so I put the brakes on that and did that, and got my doctorate that way. Got the doctorate, but not the PhD that deals with all the research and stuff that comes along with what you're doing. So we put that in the mix, and here we are. But relationships are very important in everything that you do, and I still use it today in my community building, in my ministry. That's my ministry. I'm a reverend, by the way, also, but I'm not a reverend that's going to go out there and hit people over the head with God and all that. I believe that people should know right from wrong. And yeah, you should know something about the Bible and whoever you believe in, and act accordingly. You know, you're not out there to hurt anybody. You're out there to, the ultimate thing in every religion is love, I believe. You know, so I can sit in anybody's church and relate to what you're talking about, you know. And when I sit in your church, you should understand that, you know, I have my own my own religion. I believe in God, and you'll understand me and love me for me, and I'm going to understand and love you for you. And that's our relationship.
Awesome. Awesome. And do you feel like there was anyone like in your life during your entire career that was like the greatest influence to you, where you felt like, oh my gosh, I've gotten, or I've gotten so many nuggets from this person that I can use for life now, presently, and even in the future? Was there anyone like that for you?
Yes. My father. My father. My mother too, but in a different way. So I have a black father, an Italian mother from Italy. So my father's from South Carolina, my mother's from Italy. But you know, you put that combination together. My mother was able to cook soul food and do all those things that, you know, that you like in a black person. She had that Italian side too. So I was able to, and my father was, you know, black. They could both cook. And but growing up, I had that problem. You know, people calling me black, and black people call me white or Spanish, big ass, you know, da 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 da, the names that come along with it. And I used to come home sometimes crying, you know, Daddy, they're asking me what I am, you know, what am I, you know? And he said, just tell them you're American. Just tell them you're American, and you can make it work like that. And family's coming in right now while we're speaking. But yeah, so you and taking that from back then, you're able to put everything together and make it work. So yeah, my father was like one of the main people that inspired me to do the things that I'm doing today, and to help keep me on track. You know, he believed in me. And of course, Hal Jackson from WBLS, one of the guys who started WBLS, along with Percy Sutton, another one, and a young man by the name of Hank Carter, who has the wheelchair charities, and they named a hospital after him, the Henry Carter Hospital on 122nd Street in Harlem. And he's still alive. And it's like one of the only people that they named the hospital after who's still alive. So those people, made an indelible mark in my life.
I love that. And would you say that some of the things your dad said, or even some of the other people that you named, we're looking at your daily dose of quotes and anecdotes. Do you feel like any of what your dad said or what they said are or have inspired some of these daily quotes and anecdotes? Like my dad, I can tell you, there are things I say to my children to this day. Don't put a period where God put a comma. Or one of my favorites is, oh gosh, there's so many favorites, but my favorite is, a smart man learns from his own mistakes, a wise man learns from someone else's.
Yeah.
Right, Apple.
Yeah. Dad's right there. He's letting you know.
That's right.
Even though I spent much of my life doing smart man things, you know, learning from it, but wishing I had just listened when it was all said and done. So the wise thing.
Yeah.
But do you, again, feel like any of the quotes and anecdotes you have in this book were inspired by the people that you just said were your greatest influencers? Absolutely.
And they didn't all have to come together and make a whole lot of sense. When you're young, it's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Right.
I hear you. But when you become a little older and you have your own children, then it starts to sink in. Wow, yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about now. Because now you're experiencing what he was experiencing back then. But you know, he always said, stay in school, be on time, and get a good education. You know, stay in school, not necessarily having to go to an institution, but, you know, always pick up something and read it. Like, you know, you go to the Caribbean island, get something to wave it, get something and read it. Get something and read it.
I love that.
And read the whole thing, not just the caption or just the front part of it, because they can put anything in the front part of that thing. But if you don't go down and read the whole thing and find out who wrote that, you may follow that belief, and then you're spreading the word. Did you hear that such and such and such? And it's not true because you didn't read the rest of the story.
Right.
But you just read the headlines. The headlines are there to grab you. You know, it's an attention getter.
Right.
You just read the headlines. Now you're going around telling anybody that, you know, that's the story. But that's not the story. Read that whole damn story. You'll see the twist down the line. And you see who wrote it. And if it's a political thing, you can see what side wrote it. You know, Hal Jackson used to tap the microphone when I sat in there with him. He said, you know what this is all about? I said, well, yes, that's a microphone. He said, do you know what this is about? You know what this is? It's a microphone. So you don't realize while you're sitting there, because now you're wondering why this guy's tapping on a microphone asking you what that is. It's a microphone. But later on, you come to realize that that microphone is the power to persuade, influence, and move people in a certain direction. And whoever controls that microphone, whoever controls it, has the power to move people in a certain direction. And that's why so many people are fighting over that microphone now. They're buying up radio stations. They're trying to control social media. Whoever controls the microphone, the media. The biggest movers of people are the media, Department of Education, and religion. Those are the three. And when I say media, I mean social media and all the stuff. Even AI now. We got to watch out for AI because you don't know what that's going to come up with.
Got that right.
And that there could be another person just like you on the other side of the country or right in the same neighborhood. You are AI. You know, and I walked the picket lines with SAG-AFTRA. We were out by 40 Rock, and one of the main issues was AI. You know, they may hire 1,000 people to be extras in a movie, and you get hired for one day, but they need those people to come back every day to complete this movie. But that crew of 1,000 get hired for one day. Because now they've regenerated that whole audience of 1,000 people with AI.
Right.
Now you ain't getting paid.
Right.
You got paid once. So walking this picture, we won. I'm a SAG-AFTRA actor and announcer, and we won. So they can't do that with us. But there's so many other ways for them to use AI to. We hope it's going to be positive, but it's the latest thing right now.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me chime in here. That is so true. And I'm actually doing a fraud presentation at a church in April, and AI is a big topic of discussion. So I totally appreciate what you're saying. AI has
absolutely
great ramifications for our existence today that people
see.
Need to
AI
know.
heard you and it froze you right there for a hot second.
Say again?
So AI heard you. And you were talking about AI and it froze you for a second.
Oh, see? Those tentacles go all over the place. But I want to get back to something you all were discussing about your dad having a great influence on you. And I just want to say, I posted the copy of one of your books. Dr. Bob is a prolific writer. He's written several books. We're going to give you an opportunity to get some significant funds off of the soft or hard covers, and what we're going to give you a chance to win today will give you a chance, an opportunity rather, to get the entire Kindle book paid for. Yeah. So we're going to give you an opportunity to do that. But what I wanted to say, what reminded me of what your conversation reminded me of, where the aspect of a conversation where y'all were talking about your dad's influence on you, is the forward in this particular book. I'm not going to tell you who did it or anything like that, but once you get this book, The Daily Dose of Quotes and Anecdotes, and I'm talking to the viewing audience, and even if you're not one of the ones that can get it from us today, go on Amazon and get it. It's phenomenal, and the forward is like profound. You have to get it to see it for yourself. But if you want to be in the running to get a copy of the book, and thank you all for coming on. Thank you, Carolyn Lewis, Patrice Fitzgerald, and everyone else. They took time to greet us. So we thank you guys for coming on. Yes, applause. But if you send us an email at kickingitwithbrothered@yahoo.com, kickingitwithbrothered@yahoo.com, we will put you at least in the running of getting a copy or a coupon, I should say, for the entire Kindle book, or at least some significant funds off of the hardcover or softcover book. So just keep that in mind. We want to do that. We want to get you there. Uh, Carolyn Lewis, Patrice, the rest of you, thank you so much. And Dr. Bob Lee appreciates your words. Carolyn Lewis just put in, I'll put it up on the board there. Thank you, Dr. Bob Lee. Awesome.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
We're happy that all you folks have tuned in. We definitely look forward to giving you an opportunity to getting some of Dr. Bob's books. We'll show you something else, some other things later. Let's get back to the conversation. Yes, the trilogy. Let's see what we got with the trilogy there, Dr. Bob. We're going to give you an opportunity to see that too. A trilogy, 3 books. Talk about those a little bit, Dr. Bob. I don't want to do it any injustice.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I wrote these is because Ann Tripp and I, for Black History Month, used to try to write about some of the people in Black history so we can just put them out to the public on the radio. But in doing the research, trying to find people, it was like a lot of times we were talking about the same people. Sojourner Truth, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. But there were a lot of people in history, you know, and I had to wait until I was older to find out about these women, 3 phenomenal mathematicians who helped propel astronauts into space, Hidden Figures, first the book and then the movie. I said, wow, wait a minute. If that's the case, there has to be more than that. So I came up with the people to know in Black history and beyond, recognizing the heroes and sheroes who make the grade. Volume 1. I want to start out with some people. Of course, these are the people whose shoulders we stood on, and some people who are still in our time, and people who are still doing things. And that's why people to know in Black history and beyond Black History Month, beyond the people whose shoulders we stood on, and beyond just only Black people, because there were a lot of white people. You look up John Brown, you know,
Right.
Yeah, and you know, he's trying to get rid of slavery back in the day. But they even came up with that song, "Glory, Glory, Hallelujah." He's in the book. You know, they did that for John Brown because this was before the Civil War, and they think that was right after that, it was the start of the Civil War. But he was trying to do something to try to help eradicate slavery back then. But there's so many wonderful people in these books, and you know, you got to keep the volumes going, because here's Percy Sutton. He started WBLS along with Hal Jackson.
That's right.
They both met in Harlem, and they purchased WLIB in 1972.
I remember that station.
2 years later, they purchased WBLS, 1974. That's why we're celebrating 50 years of WBLS now. But these two got together and they set it up. He was the Manhattan Borough president at the time, Percy Sutton was.
Percy Sutton, yeah.
Yeah, and his granddaughter, Keisha Sutton, is the deputy Manhattan Borough president right now. So that's why, you know, we talk about those circles of love and how things come back full circle. You know, his granddaughter's following in his footsteps. So, yeah, these are the 3 books, and we'll just continue highlighting people who are doing great things. Like, you know, I may even have you in the book one day because you're here, you're living within this space and time, and you should be celebrated. Why wait until after people are gone to give them their flowers? You know?
That's right. Amen. And I want to encourage everybody to get these books, because we need to know our history. There's an old saying, those who forget their history are doomed to repeat it. And we don't want to repeat some of the things in our history, but we need to know all about it. And you have a plethora of people you feature in these 3 books, this 3-volume set. I'm getting all 3 without a doubt. I want to help y'all get some. Send us an email, kickingitwithbrothered@yahoo.com. And our program is Kicking It, but the email, as you can see, is kicking with the G at the end at Yahoo, Kicking It with Brother Ed. Please send us that email. We want to enrich your mind and save you some bucks.
Yeah, I brought my own books. I have the paperback, and I have the hardcover, and it's also on Kindle, and you get it on all platforms. Let me see. There's Amazon, there's Barnes and Noble, there's all the other online. I think iTunes. Everybody has it, so you can get it. I would like to come and sign it for you.
All right.
It's so important because you go to these schools and people don't know where they came from. In order to know where you're going, you have to know where you are, know where you've been, to know where you're going. And I think that's very, very important.
I love that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I love that this book is so relevant too for kids like my children who are 11 and 12, preteens. They need to know that it's not just history. It's presently we have these amazing Black people, these amazing Black, entrepreneurs, and I saw basketball players and singers, and not just what we know is okay. And this is extremely important. This is not to negate that, but not just that we were slaves, not that just that we invented things and discovered things and made and got our freedom through fighting and peace marches and so forth, but that even now we fight, but we get to fight because of our history and because of the amazing milestones in our history and the amazing people that did so much to get us to where we are. And now look at us soaring, so I love that. Like, I think your books, all three of them, should be in schools so that our kids, white, Black, Asian, Indian, whatever, gets to learn and gets to see that we weren't just doing things back then. It's not just history. We're making history even now.
Amen.
I think that would just be awesome because, and plus, again, I think it connects more for kids like that. To see Sierra, I just saw Sierra and Russell on the book, and Kobe and Michael Jordan. These are people that I grew up with, So it's like, I want to read the books just so I can learn more things I don't know. I would love to see, and I get to celebrate my Black people, and not just look at them like, okay, they're so far off and, they're famous and they don't have anything to do with me. No, they do. They're setting the bar. They're making the mark. So thank you for that. Sorry.
Yeah. And now it's ironic that you said it should be in the schools. In New York City, the Department of Education put it up where teachers can teach from these books, junior high, high school. They can teach from these books. Yeah.
I love that.
We're trying to get it out across the country. Some people don't want to believe that there is a history like that,
Right.
There is Black history, so they want to eliminate science and history. But no, I mean, how can you? Black history is American history.
That's right.
You're part of it all.
That's right. That is excellent.
Yes. So if you're a teacher, you can request it. You can request to teach. You can ask for this book to teach in your classroom, and I can even come to your school and bring them to you. And sign them.
Oh man, that's so important. We got to get the word out on that.
Seriously. One of my 11-year-olds, her teacher is young. She's in her 20s, but I just love how thoughtful she is and how diverse and cultured she is and so forth. And I think I'm going to whisper in her ear, hey, listen, I have a book that I think would work really well in your English class. So we don't just have to do history. I think people just assume history, but no.
Just need to know.
Reading, you're reading, so it's English as well. Let's learn something.
That's right.
And I think that would just be awesome. Sorry.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
That would be awesome. And I keep posting comments by Carol Lewis. I know there's more online because I'm looking at the counter. Come on, y'all, send some comments in. Dr. Bob, my daughter was speaking about young people, like her children, for one. For instance, I should say, what would you say to a younger person that aspires to do some of the things that you're doing, like writing and the TV and the radio pursuits that you have? What type of advice would you give them if they're thinking about entering this kind of thing?
Yeah. I think in anything that you want to do, you have to find out what it is, first of all, what you want to do. And then if you feel that you're passionate about it, it may not be that. It may be something else. You may love the violin in the beginning, but a few years down the line, you may gravitate towards something else that you like. Like my vision was wide when I was growing up. So I had to pick one of these things that I love, but I didn't get into getting hit on the chin all the time because I got out and got into mixing music, and I chose that. But I think what you really have to do is find out what you want to do, make sure you're passionate about it, and then stick with it, because when you stick with something long enough, something always happens. But make sure it's positive.
Totally agree.
Passionate about it, and always got to remember what you are is God's gift to you. Once you make it yourself, is your gift to God. So choose your choice. You got to choose your choice. Let your choice control and choose it. Once you're in it, God will give you all those ideas to help support what you want to do in life. As long as it's good, and you think you're on the right track and you're not hurting anybody else, I think you'll be fine.
Let me say something to the viewers real quick. You have to make sure, if nothing else, all of the young people you have access to, and that's got to be in the thousands, get wind of what Dr. Bob just offered. That is so important. I'll admit to you, I didn't learn those lessons until I was in my early mid-60s. You need to learn that. The earlier you learn that, the more you're going to accomplish and achieve. So people watching this program, even if you're getting a recording later, make sure the young people get wind of this. They need to hear that from a man who's obviously successful, and we could tap into that. He's giving us this free of charge. Thank you for that, Dr. Bob. Go ahead.
And then, there were so many people that, I've come across a lot of people that we see on TV and hear on radio. And you got to believe, they're just like us. They do the same things we do. But what they did was had a burning desire to become the person that they wanted to become. You have to have a burning desire, be passionate about it, a deep down burning desire. Say, this is what I want to do. God gave me 2 feet. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other and step to what I need to do. What do I have to lose? What, fear? Fear, I don't know what's around the corner, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to, step out and try to do what God says I need to do.
Amen.
God will be right there with you every step of the way.
Yes, he will.
It'll be all right.
Amen. So young people, make sure you know what you got to do, and just trust God. He's going to tell you, and then you run with that, and don't give up.
And in doing it, I've done so many things. I've went out and got coffee for people at the radio station. I've done just about every job over there. I created something called the WBLS Mobile Music Force, where we supplied DJs with hats and T-shirts, and they were self-contained. They went around with their own bands and sound systems throughout the tri-state area. I did the weekend edition of the Quiet Storm. I'm gonna let you hear something real quick.
I know that. Yeah, go ahead.
Jerry Bledsoe did the voice to this promo. See if I can find it right here. But I did the weekend edition of the Quiet Storm from 1984 to 96. I'm going back, right?
Yeah, that is going back.
So here's Jerry Bledsoe's voice. Wait.
The Quiet Storm with Dr. Bob Lee. The weekend edition on WBLS 107.5. The class of music radio.
And he said that's what we're using back then, the class of music radio. We had a couple of different titles in there. The class of music radio, in a class by itself. Today's R&B, today's best R&B and rap. We did a bunch of stuff, and that was that back then, the class.
That was so cool.
It was.
We had a lot of fun. I still have the record collection back there. I showed it to you the other day, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So we did that, and we had the WBLS Short Shots, which is coming back around again. That was led by Bon Harper and Ken Webb. And the guys, some of the old guys that are out there, they want to put that back together. They got a team of young people, and we're in talks right now to put the WBLS Short Shots back out there. We also did the first cell phone. We had the first cell phone on radio back in the day, and there's a story behind that. I'll come back to it if you want to. The WBLS Juice Mobiles, we spoke about that. The On Time program, which led me to start the Make the Grade Foundation for Education.
Right.
The On Time program was geared toward helping students get to school on time so they can get a good education and you know, be great people in society. And then, you know, I think our first, we was out there one time. I don't know if you have time for the story. What time
Yes,
is it?
we do.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
So we've gone around with the WBLS On Time program all over the tri-state area with the early day rappers with us. But this particular time I was at the Kennedy High School in the Bronx. And, you know, every now and then we'll get like a 100% attendance because they wanted to meet us there in the morning. The crowd would be crazy. They'd go crazy. You know, we were like Michael Jackson or one of those superstars pulling up in a WBLS van. It was like real crazy. I would lose shoes and have come out of there with ripped pockets and pants and stuff like that. You know, it was real crazy, but we had a lot of fun doing it, and a lot of people got educated doing it too. People come up to you today and say, I remember you came to my school back in 19 and this and that and that and that. You know, I remember what you said, and that just warms your heart and makes it all worthwhile that you were out there doing something to help everybody get what they needed out of life. But this particular morning, we were out there in a snowstorm, and we went out there rain or shine because we thought, you know, we can get out there and be on time. You can come out too. And why should snow or rain or anything stop you? You know, you're going out there to get your education. So teachers were out there, parents were out there, the whole school, the students were out there. And so I always like to put kids on the air and ask them a simple question. What's your name? What do you want to do when you graduate? Because if you can tell me that, you know, we planted a seed. 9 times out of 10, you try to follow that seed. Yeah, I want to be a doctor. I want to do this. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a therapist. We heard all kinds of stuff. So they would give us a bag of change to use the telephone booths at the time. Nia, am I going too far back or?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
She remembers.
I'm a lot older.
He said, whoa, you taking it, Bob, you're taking it way back there, son.
Yeah, man.
So Frankie Crocker would give us a bag of change, and we put that money in the machine, sometimes up to $2, $3. But because we never knew when the guy on the air, Ken Webb at the time, was going to get right back to us. We're going to do this right now. We can get it in there and get it out of the way. And this was live. This wasn't recorded. And we had the door to the van open with the big speakers in there. You can hear everything live. No delay or nothing. So that's how far back that was. And we had to hit the cassette button to record everything.
Wow.
So everybody's waiting. Anticipation was in the air. Everybody's enthusiastic about hearing their voices. They called their parents and they called everybody. Hey, I'm going to be on BLS. And everything was like ready to go. And so Ken Webb says, hold on, Bob. I got this contest. Let me get this contest out of the way. So we're waiting for him. Everybody's waiting there. Right? All right, yo, we ready to go? Yeah, we're ready to go. All right, everybody's real quiet. Thousands of people, real quiet. Until Ken Webb gets on and says, all right, let's go out to Dr. Bobby. Bob, where are you? I said, well, we're live at Kennedy High School. Everybody's on time. And 100% attendance out there. The crowd was going crazy. You couldn't even hear yourself speaking. Yeah, we're out here. Hi, what's your name? And what do you want to do when you graduate? Well, my name is, I want to be this. My name is, I had about 10 to 8 people. Yeah, I want to be, Then I get the principal on the line. Say, well, tell us a little bit about your school. What's it all about? Why should people come to your school? Well, our school is well known for this and that and that. And these are some of the people who have graduated from our school in the past, some well-known people. and this and that, so on and so forth.
Oops.
Oh no.
Oh, there he is. We got him back. We only have a few seconds left anyway, Dr. Bob. Say something again because we lost audio. Nope, no good. Wow. We lost our audio. Can I hear you, App? Nye?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yep.
We lost audio on Dr. Bob, right?
Yep.
Wow, that's well, look, our time is up. But let me I'm gonna see if we can get, oh, I see what happened. Try to unmute. There you go. Go now.
Can
Can
you
you
say
say
something?
anything, Dr. Bob?
Oh no, he can't hear us.
You can't hear us now.
We can't hear you. Mm-mm.
Yeah, listen, this is he was talking about the hazards of live radio, and this is live
This is
streaming.
it.
So,
This is it.
but we're gonna bring Dr. Bob back if he agrees.
Yes.
We want you to send us an email. Don't forget, if you email us at kickingitwithbrothered@yahoo.com, that's kicking with a G at the end. We're gonna give you something to help pay for or completely pay for the book by Dr. Bob. We got 4 books, the quotes book and the trilogy that we're going to send you. Just send us an email, kickingitwithbrother@yahoo. If you don't get one of the books, we're going to give you one of our KWBE mugs, like the one I have right here.
Like the one I need when you come here.
Yes.
Just
Yeah,
saying.
we're going to get one tonight, Chai, of course. We love you guys. We are out because we are out of time. We're over time, but we're going to wish you all a fond adieu. Please get everybody to watch this program, even at the recordings. Get them to tune in, especially the young people. We want them to partake of some of the wisdom and knowledge that was shared here today. We love you all so much. We appreciate you. Thank you, Patrice. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, KD. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. We love you all. Look forward to seeing you next time. I'm doing a book signing next Sunday at Grace Baptist Church. We're doing a book celebration. There's going to be food and fun and fellowship. Come to Grace Baptist Church next Sunday, March 2nd, or is it March 3rd? It's March 3rd. 811 King George's Road in Fort. Say that again.
March 3rd. I was just saying the 3rd.
March 3rd. Yes. So anyway, we're out, man. We love you guys. We'll see you next time. We're going to have Stacy Lloyd, who's the top-ranking trooper, the top-ranking Black female trooper in the New Jersey State Police. We're going to have her on, Dr. Stacy Lloyd. Come back again. Hey, we got Dr. Bob back. Let's see if he can say so long.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we got cut off. Where did I leave that off at? I was talking to the principal.
Yo.
Say again, Dr. Bob.
Yeah.
We hear you. Say something.
Yeah. All right. So I was talking to the principal, and after talking to all the kids and everything, this is during the live broadcast, live on-time program, and the principal gets on and talks about his school and what it's all about, why people should come to his school. And then the operator comes in and says, "I'm sorry, please deposit 10 cents for the next 5 minutes or your call will be interrupted. Thank you. This is a recording." And then Ken Webb, we all got caught. The kids fell out in the snow. We were standing there holding the phone like that. And then Ken Webb came back and said, "Well, I guess the operator had to get their 10 cents worth." But they called us into the station. We went up to the 22nd floor. You don't want to go up there because you knew you were in trouble if you were going up to the 22nd floor.
Right.
And Frankie Crocker was there. Hal Jackson was there. Percy Sutton was there. The engineering department was there. And they said, "We heard that. We don't want that to ever happen again." You know, the operator come in on your broadcast.
Right.
So they issued me the first cell phone.
Wow.
And ever since then, I started broadcasting out of the front of the van with the WBLS cell phone. It was like a brick, and it was 3 watts. These are 1.6 watts or so because there's so many cell sites. The cell phones back then were 3 watts because you needed the power to get to a cell site that was far away. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes they put the antenna on the top of the van because it was dangerous to have that antenna next to you. It was splashing you with the radiation. So that antenna was on top of the van, and you were able to get out to those different locations. And from then on, we started broadcasting around the tri-state area. Instead of hitting different telephone booths, you were self-contained. And that was the first cell phone in the city.
I remember those programs too. That's awesome. Yeah. But anyway, listen, thank you again, Dr. Bob. I'm glad you got back hooked up to us. We're way over time, but we thank y'all who stayed for staying. But again, I emphasize, have the young people and everybody else you know tune into this program, even if it's by recording hereafter. We love y'all. We are out for real.
Brother
We'll
Ed,
see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Bob, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
All right now. We're gonna be blown away right now, but we'll see you next time. Peace and God bless you all.